building. I'm happy to be here with you. X-Ray is your flagship program where we discuss trending and topical issues that pertain to our reality in Nigeria and beyond. Today I am not alone. I have our very own barrister Idris Bauer. Thank you for joining us today.
Good morning, Peter.
We're also joined by Helni Kwajafa. Thank you for being part of the program.
Good morning.
I'll allow our very brand new guest and part of the family to introduce herself.
Thank you, Peter. My name is Oikike Igadu Kure.
It's good to have you on X-Ray.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
You're welcome. And my name is Peter Kundum. Well, a very interesting look at the events from yesterday. In fact, from last week up till today. So much is going on. We're looking at the NGO bill, quite a popular saying these days. Nigeria's House of Representatives is presently considering the passage of the NGO regulation bill sponsored by the Deputy Majority Leader of the House, Honorable Umar Buba Jibril. This comes in spite of the series of criticisms from Nigerians that there are already enough existing laws that only need to be implemented, and that the bill was designed to muscle NGOs and civil society organizations, CSOs. Defending the decision, the lawmakers at the lower chamber, the Deputy Majority Leader of the House, Umar Jibril, said religious organizations will not be affected by the proposed bill. The lawmaker, who spoke through his media aide, alleged that some non-governmental organizations collected funds from the Northeast IDPs and disappeared. Titled NGO Regulation Bill, it has already passed first and second readings in the House of Representatives and is now at the committee stage. Let's take a look at Mr. Jibril's statement below. Some NGOs collected funds for the Northeast IDPs and disappeared. There are also statements of churches, mosques, Esusu Market Women Associations not affected. And he also went on to say that our quasi-financial institutions at local levels are not NGOs. These organizations have existed for centuries to serve businesses and commerce of our market women and traders. He also mentioned that religious bodies and organizations are not NGOs. So there you have it. Barrister Idris, what do you have to say about this? Let's start with you.
Yeah, thank you, Peter. I think a lot of our colleagues have spoken about the bill and the disadvantages that the bill is actually coming with. I would like to say that for me, I don't think we need any further bill on this. My reasons are very clear. Part C of KAMA, that's called the Companies and Allied Matters Act, has given enough, given enough to prosecute any defaulting NGO. He said the statement of the senator that some NGOs have collected money in the Northeast and disappeared. First and foremost, who are these NGOs? We don't make blanket insinuation or allegations. If we know this NGO, name them, and then the appropriate measure should be taken to dealing with these NGOs, because the Corporate Affairs Commission that registered them has the law setting up the Corporate Affairs Commission has given us ways by which you can deal with some of these NGOs. If you look at it, section 40 of the Constitution has given a right of association. If you kind of cage us in making this association, we are defaulting. This is a constitutional matter, and for you to say you want to make law that negates the provision of the Constitution is ultra-biased completely. So we need to look at this bill in its entirety.
Is there anything wrong with having the NGOs and their activities curtailed?
No, far from it. What I'm saying is that we have enough laws already that we deal with any defaulting NGO. Making blanket statement is not the issue. What we need to do is name the NGO, write up to the Corporate Affairs Commission. We can even go as far as deregistering them from, functioning as NGOs. So there are enough laws already to deal with this issue. That's where my problem is coming from.
Okay. If I were to ask, what is your reservation about this? Do you have any reservations, or you think it's a good thing?
Well, first and foremost, my fear about this bill is that it has tendencies of silencing these NGOs. And we know how important these NGOs are. Without them, a lot of things would have gone underground without us knowing. Nigerians may be in darkness, really, and a lot of them have come out to do a lot of great things for our people, things that government ordinarily couldn't do. These NGOs are doing them. So by the time we try to silence them, or we try to regulate them in such a way that they cannot do what they should do for us, I think it's not very, very pleasant. By the end of the day, I think the ordinary man will be affected. Of course, we know that some of the NGOs may have some issues, but I think we should look at those ones who have those issues and not try to silence the totality of them. That's what I think.
You do agree with me that most NGOs exist for not-for-profit reasons.
Yes, of course.
But at the same time, we know that there are some of them who have ulterior motives.
Yes.
I have met quite a number of people who set up NGOs out of nothing because they feel that somehow they're going to benefit from donor agencies and eventually, get richer. That has been a lot of trending material that I can use authoritatively and tell you.
Yes, that's true, but I think we should have.
I don't agree with you,
Okay.
Peter. I don't agree. Let me give you the lowdown of what it takes. NGOs, if a donor agency is going to fund you to do specific projects, they have monitoring and evaluation apparatus that they will use to know whether you are doing your work or you are not doing the work. In some cases, I have worked with some NGOs. When we ask them to do certain activities and they are not done, we won't pay them for what they have not done. The money is not just given out like that. You need to report back to the funder who is giving you the money.
So in the case of Honorable Jibrin's assertion, clearly there are NGOs that have absconded.
He shouldn't just make blanket statement. Who are these NGOs? We need to know. It's not about NGO have absconded. Mind you, we know of something that happened where the president himself set up a committee to investigate the goings in that Northeast. Are the NGOs involved in the transportation of food items that disappeared? For God's sake.
Are you saying that there's hardly any truth in what he's saying?
No. I'm not saying there's. Let him give us names of such NGOs. Then we know how to deal with them. It's not about making blanket statement. If you say NGO XYZ has absconded or it was made to do certain activities and that NGO didn't do them, then fine. We know that you have given a name. Then the next thing is for the authority to chase that NGOs. We have the EFC, the ICPC, the EFCC. What are they doing? It's part of the mandate that they should look into such activities or such allegations. We shouldn't make a blanket statement. I'm not saying that, one of our greatest problems is not about the law itself. What mechanism do we have in place to implement all of these laws? Is a problem. So making another law, setting up a commission and all of that, I don't think is the solution. We have enough laws that will deal with any erring NGO as far as Nigerian laws are concerned.
Well, this year, this is one of the bills that have received fierce opposition from Nigerians. We know that even some religious organizations have accused the sponsor of subtly trying to promote a propaganda. We've also seen the likes of Fani Kayode and many others. Some senators still don't support that. Helni, what do you have to say?
Yeah, I would say that these senators are not supporting the proposed bill, because if this bill is being passed, it's going to be worse than the totalitarian peace. The country is going to be in a very diverse situation, and we don't need that now in Nigeria, because it's going to, the NGOs now that we have on ground are really working, because when you go back to the Northeast, you find out that what the government are not doing, these NGOs are reaching to some point, they are reaching to people, and they are really doing some things to help the needy, to help those internally displaced people out there in the Northeast. So this bill that is being passed is really going to affect those that are not, their voice cannot be heard, because the NGOs are really doing a very good work there.
Well, I mean, you sound so authoritative, but let me take you back a little bit.
Okay.
There have been protests in some of the internally displaced persons camps.
Okay.
And there's been a massive call for, we want to return to our homes because we are lacking in food, we're lacking in good shelter, the attention is really poor and all of that. So if I hear suggestions from my panelists saying there are a lot of efforts being made by NGOs, how so?
Peter, I think we need to get things clear. The work of NGOs is very dynamic, and it depends on what you request for, the kind of funding activities you are requesting for funding for. That's I am not sure there's any donor agency that will give money to NGO, for instance, to buy rice or to buy clothing and all of that to distribute to the needy around these places. What my understanding is about capacity building. It's about access to justice. It's about access to potable, clean water. It's about access to good environment within the IDP camp. The issue of food, which you mentioned, we've had reports that a number of food that were meant to go to this ID camp disappeared. Not by the NGOs, but by other means. NGOs are not involved in this distribution of food. What happened with the report that the president, somebody made allegation that one of the members of the cabinet was involved in shady deals in the Northeast. Committee was set up. They have given submitted a report. We want to know what is contained in that report, because these are the allegations we should be talking about, not fighting NGOs who are there to ensure capacity building for these people. The bill, if you look at section 40, which I mentioned earlier, it gave absolute powers for people to associate with each other, form organizations and all of that. By this bill, if you look at it, I know there's a section, I think section 50 of that bill, that says this bill does not affect religious organizations or things like that, all of that. But again, if you look at the totality of the bill, it's not helpful for this country. We don't need a bill like that at the moment.
True.
We have enough laws that will deal with any area NGO. My take is, let him name names of such NGOs who have derailed, who have embezzled, and then the law will take its course. It is very simple. The law is there. We have enough of them. The laws are there. We have enough of them that will deal with any area NGO. This is my fight about this bill, nothing else. And again, I want to the strategy to dealing with this bill is for us to go to National Assembly. As soon as they give a date for public hearing, all of us should march to the National Assembly and say enough of this rubbish. They are there to make laws that will benefit the ordinary man in the street. Not, do you know how many NGOs, for instance, how many NGOs engage in employment across Nigeria? When you gag against all of this, you are causing unemployment. We are not looking at the bigger picture of this bill. We are just being myopic, looking at some other chasing a shadow. For me, it's very horrifying that we're even talking about a bill like this at this time, when we should be talking about laws that will enhance our, living as a nation.
Okay.
Yes, when you look at it, I'm sure these lawmakers are thinking that many of the NGOs are not doing very well, in the sense of we have that misconception or a belief that the NGOs are just there to enrich a few persons. You see them with heavy duty cars and all that. So the lawmakers are thinking that most of the monies that are being provided by these donor agencies really don't get to the point that they send these monies to. It really do not get to the people themselves. But I think, even though some of the NGOs, of course, we can't say everybody is doing very well, but I think we should look inwards and identify those ones that we believe are not doing very well. And then if there are ways in form of sanctions or whatever should be done to them. So that's my take on it.
All right, so I'm taking a look at that bill right now on the laptop, and obviously it's a very lengthy document. But let me just say, if this scales through, what do you envisage, Helny?
If this bill scales through, we're going to be in a deep shit in the country.
That's a very wrong word to use on radio. We don't accept that.
Okay.
Radio, we like to withdraw that word as soon as possible. So it is not acceptable on radio. But again, if it scales through, you think it's going to be a big problem?
Yeah, it's going to be a big problem in the country, because whatever you're going to do, you have to go back to the National Assembly, to the legislators, so that they would approve before anything is being passed. Whatever thing you're going to do, even like the churches, the mosques, even the women in the market, the market women, the stakeholders will have to go and get an approval for whatever they're going to do. The NGOs, even some of the NGOs even the NGOs, yes, that are helping people, would have to go back there. They have to go get an approval for.
Let's talk about the establishment of the commission. Naturally, if this happened, Barrister, it would definitely require a commission to handle that regulation.
Yes.
So the bill suggests that there is hereby established a body to be known as the Non-Governmental Organizations Regulatory Commission in Nigeria, in this act referred to as the Commission. The Commission shall be a body corporate with perpetual succession and a common seal, may sue and be sued in its corporate name, may acquire, hold, or dispose of any property movable and immovable for the purposes of carrying out its functions under the Act. And it will have its headquarters in Abuja, the Federal Capital Territory, and there is hereby establishing a governing board in the Act to be referred to as the board for the management of the Commission, and it shall consist of the following: a chairman, one representative each of the following, who shall not be below the rank of a director or its equivalent, and so on and so forth. Now, these are common things we see when a bill is coming in this manner. Do you think that Nigerians are ready for such a bill, in all honesty? Because, I mean, look at it.
Before we even go further, have they considered the cost implication of setting up a commission? Is key. We are talking about not having money. We are talking about money needed for development, structural development and all of that. Then we are talking about money to set up commission. To do what? Monitor the role of NGOs? What is the role of Corporate Affairs Commission that gave license to this NGO to operate? You see, we are just reinventing the wheel. We are just duplicating efforts and all of that, and it's taking us nowhere. It is very clear. It is very simple. Any NGO that is set up, that is registered with the Corporate Affairs Commission, has a certificate, and the Corporate Affairs Commission gave guidelines, has guidelines. Under Part C of CAMA, there are guidelines, rules, and all of that governing any of these NGOs. So what happens to that law? So the issue of setting up a commission, to me, is just not the right thing to do now. Let us look at the Corporate Affairs Commission. If there is need for us to amend the CAMA, the Act, to strengthen it, to give it a bite, so be it. But creating another law, for God's sake, I'll tell you, Peter, the Administration of Criminal Justice Act 2015 was passed. Tell me one government institution or the National Assembly itself that made initiative to enlighten Nigerians on what that act is all about. None. It's these same NGOs that will go out, sensitize the Nigerian police about their role towards this implementing this act. It is the same NGO that will go about sensitizing even the judges about their role in order to implement this act. The same NGOs are the ones sensitizing the Nigerian prison. I'll give you one clear example that will surprise even our audience. Do you know that that act provides for community service? As we speak, some judges still sentence people. They'll say you are sentenced to do community service XYZ, and the person is taken to prisons, which is a clear, wrong way of doing community service. So the role of NGOs, we can't take it away from them, that they are doing a lot to sensitize the Nigerian public, to sensitize everyone. Where any NGO is found wanting, for God's sake, we have ways of dealing with such NGOs. My quarrel with this bill, the senator, he's saying that some NGOs siphon money and disappeared. There's no problem. If you say NGO XYZ siphon money, give us the names of those NGOs. We have means, ways by which we go to Corporate Affairs Commission, seek, look at the article memo of such organization, what they said they will be doing. Have they, gone outside what was agreed? Did they do what they were supposed to do? If there's no report to that effect, then you can deregister them and make it public. Once that is done, that NGO is offline, and the persons who are involved can be prosecuted, criminal trials. So we shouldn't just think of we have more than enough laws. The ACJA 2015 has given a lot of room for us to deal with any issue. The Corporate Affairs Commission, the act setting it up, has given us law to deal with erring NGOs. And if you look at the wider picture, all of this law can, even in states where ACJL has not been, or ACJA has not been adopted, the criminal code is still there, the penal code is still there. So nobody is going scot-free. What we need to do, let us implement the laws we already have, draw up a strategy on how to implement them, sensitize the public on what they should know about all of this law. So we have a whole lot of things to do surrounding the law already passed.
Okay.
We don't need a new one.
When we come back from the break, I'm sure we'll take another dimension to this discussion and then open up the phone lines. It's Human Rights Radio 101.1 FM, and this is X-Ray, where we take a look at the trending and topical issues across Nigeria and beyond. Stay with us. We'll be back.
Tensions rising and more arguments. One man, one woman, one show. X-Ray X-Ray. Airing live on Human Rights Radio 101.1 Abuja.
This is Human Rights Radio 101.1. Redefining broadcasting.
In its bid to support the government in reducing unemployment in Nigeria, 101.1 Human Rights Radio is empowering 2,000 freelance canvassers who will market our brand across Nigeria and beyond. We are determined to support the government in reducing unemployment. Interested candidates are advised to drop their applications and CVs on or before Thursday, 24th of August 2017 at the Human Rights Radio Station, Plot 1184, Kaura District, beside Games Village, Abuja. Please note, members of the public approached by any of our freelance canvassers are please advised to observe the following instructions before engaging the services of these freelance canvassers. Request for Human Rights Official Freelance Canvassers ID card. Every freelance canvasser is required to make a call and have you speak with our official marketer who will confirm if you are dealing with a registered canvasser. You will be required to come to the Human Rights Radio Station in person, accompanied by the freelance canvasser. Our office is located at Plot 1184, Kaura District, besides Games Village, FCT Abuja, Nigeria. For international clients, kindly send a representative to the same office address. Human Rights Radio will not be held responsible for monies paid to any canvasser or anyone at all if the above instructions are not followed. Human Rights Radio. Redefining broadcasting.
Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready? Hey, you! That's right, you! Are you a local artist just trying to share your music with the world? Are you a musician who's got the skills to pay the bills?
How about you know?
You know I'm talking to you. Let Human Rights Radio be the stepping stone to your fame. That's right. If you're a local artist or musician, then bring your music down to Human Rights Radio and we will air your music for free. Say what? Did I stutter? I know you heard me. So what are you waiting for? Come on down to Human Rights Radio 101.1 FM at Plot 1184, Kaura District, besides Games Village, FCT Abuja, and you could become the next superstar. Woo!
This is Human Rights Radio 101.1. Redefining broadcasting.
In a world filled with questions, many were called, two were chosen. Reality comes to play. Stories are made. Moments when you feel the fever. 1 hour. Arguments, controversies, questions and answers, tensions rising, and more arguments. One man, one woman, one show. X-Ray. Airing live on Human Rights Radio 101.1 Abuja.
Welcome back to X-Ray on Human Rights Radio 101.1, and it's time for us to go back to the topic of discussion. We're talking about the NGO bill and trying to highlight some of the tough moments in the Nigerian legislative system. So let's quickly take a look at, by the way, I still have Barrister Idris Helni in the house, as well as Oyi Kike. Thank you guys for staying with us thus far. Now, what is the legislative process in getting a bill approved, getting a bill, passing through different readings? I mean, what are even the readings?
Thank you, Peter. I think it's good for us to know some of this legislative process. First and foremost, a bill can go to the National Assembly either as a private member bill or executive bill. Private member bill in this case is a member of the House of Representatives or the Senate can decide to, propose a bill. Then executive bill is the one that will come through the executive. That's through either the presidency or any of the ministers or parastatal of government to the National Assembly. So in any of this way, a bill can say through. Once a bill goes into the National Assembly, it is listed, and they have a cost list, and that cost list will now give you a kind of where the stages or the stage where a particular bill is. For instance, after listing, it goes to the floor. The members of the Assembly, either House of Rep or Senate, will look at it. That they call first reading, and they make comments and all of that. The comments are incorporated into the draft bill, and then again it goes back to, they have committees. Each of the committee, they know what they are supposed to do to that particular bill. Once it is done like that, it goes back again to the Senate for a second reading to ensure that those suggestions, those things they want to introduce to the bill or to remove were incorporated or removed from the bill. So it goes through second reading. After the second reading, the next stage is to invite the general public to make input to the bill, and that's where what we call the public hearing. At the public hearing, stakeholders are allowed into the assembly to make contribution to that particular bill, and the contributions so made, most times it's not compulsory that the National Assembly will incorporate them. They may decide to remove them, they may decide to add them. So during that public hearing, the report of the committee is now presented again to the National Assembly for them to have a clause-by-clause consideration. This is done either by the House of Rep or by the Senate. But again, they have this caucus meeting where both houses will now meet and look at the bill together to finalize and ensure that, yes, it's well thought through. Once that is done, they can now say, okay, this bill, send it to the Senate President and say, we are passing this bill. Once it is passed, it is sent to the President for his assent. If the President refuses to assent to that bill, I think they give a number of days, whether it's 90 days or 30 days, I can't remember anymore. Give number of days within which the President can sign. Where the President refuses to sign, the Assembly may veto the power of the President and come back and they will sign it and becomes a law. Where the President signs, automatically it becomes a law. So I am giving, like this bill we are talking about. Sometimes back, we had a bill called, I think they could name the bill Nudity Bill. It was sponsored by Senator Ford Ekaite at that time. And what the bill proposed was any woman, for instance, a Fulani woman who wears her traditional dress and expose her navel, that become nudity. Then any, like the traditional Bini woman who wears tie wrapper and wear beads and exposes her other part of the body, those are nudity. When we saw that bill, just like this NGO bill, we sat down and said, we know the kind of system we run in this country. We know what it will take if you allow police to take advantage of this bill. We are talking about rape. We are talking about indecent assault and all of that. This will be a floodgate for this to happen. So what the NGO committee did was to look at that time, we had 13 bills before the National Assembly that were dealing with issues surrounding women's rights. And the NGO sat down, harmonized this bill, and came up with one bill. And that is what we have today as the Violence Against Person Prohibition Act 2015. So if you look at it, the NGO, they play key role, very important role in any of the bill. The Administration of Criminal Justice Act 2015, which I spoke about, the NGO were the one that pushed for that bill. I can authoritatively tell you with the role some of these NGOs made through the executive and the National Assembly. So we shouldn't look, track or the role of, NGO. The NGOs, they act as a watchdog to every institution in this country. Where for instance, we have some NGOs that do budget tracking. The role, they provide some kind of oversight, and they make reports. I'm not saying that we don't have NGOs that are doing things that are not, that you can't question. Yes, we can question some of the activities of this NGO, but that doesn't negate the fact that they are doing enough to ensure that Nigeria move forward. So let's go back to this bill. My quarrel in this bill is just very simple. We have enough laws to deal with any area NGO. Let's take that as a fact. The Corporate Affairs Commission has the mandate to oversee that NGOs, they function very well. The only thing missing, which I think every NGO should link up with the website of CAC, and all their activities, they should be reporting through their website, and anybody can go to their website of CAC and say, for instance, you want to check XYZ NGO, and look at Corporate Affairs of the Commission site, type the name of that NGO, and you see the activities being carried out by that NGO. That alone is, again, one way to go to monitor. And this is, you don't need any law to say you want to do this. All they need to do is do the incorporation, or they can even write to them that we have, enlarge our website. All NGOs should register in this website, given the mandate. It's about sensitization. It's about letting people know what they should do and at the right time.
Lots of calls online for petitions to be signed against this bill. Onyekike, do you think this will make any remarkable contribution in terms of how much Nigerians want this bill not to scale through?
Yes, I think, Peter, things are really changing, and gone are those days when what the people say does not matter. Now people are strong and the voices are being heard. And I believe that the people have the power to stop this bill or not. So if they come out en masse and mobilize themselves against the bill, if they really don't want it, I'm sure the bill will not see the light of the day. But if we sit back, or if they sit back and do nothing but just complain, it might just scale through, So there will be an opportunity for everyone, stakeholders, to add through the public hearing. And so when that time comes, I expect that anybody who doesn't want the bill should come out and say no to it. And I think it will help.
Sorry, Peter, just to add that you see, the issue is very clear. The members of the Senate and members of the House of Representatives, they are representing us at that level. They are our representative. And once we say we don't want this, I think they should listen. It is clear that a number of people are against this bill. What they should do is to go back to the drawing board and say, okay, the people don't want this bill, we're withdrawing it. But if they still want to go to the next stage, which is a public hearing, I think the NGO community, they are ready, and they will go en masse to come and to go and challenge the bill and tell Nigerians why that bill should not stay true. Section 40 of the Constitution is very clear. Unfortunately, I don't have a copy of the Constitution. I would have loved to read that section and give details on why we think this bill should not even fly at all.
All right, so you can call us up and be part of the discussion on X-Ray this morning on Human Rights Radio 101.1 FM. It's 081 89 99 1011. That's the number again, 081 89 99 1011. So the lines are up now. Let's get our first caller and reaction on the show, on the program. I beg your pardon. Please put off your radio set. Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Biliamino.
Thank you for joining us.
Good morning to everyone in the studio. I've been following up. I've been hearing all this solution about this NGO bill. Personally, I won't say I'm against the bill. In fact, I'm not even against the bill. I'll tell you my reason. My reasons are NGOs are there. They are checkmating. We agree. They do a lot of things that are good. But they need to be checkmated as well. This one is saying Corporate Affairs Commission. Companies are registered by Corporate Affairs Commission. A lot of people are doing that. And people, other regulatory agencies are also regulating them. You understand? What I'm saying, what the NGOs would do, they should do like what they did when Senator Fadekaite brought that those bills that were kicked. Look at the bill, screen it, and look at things that will that's going to hammer and affect the activities of NGOs. Then those ones that are good, that they should be allowed to, because even them, being part of NGOs, other people are spoiling their names. Believe me, some people, if they look at it and say, what do you do? You say, okay, I have an NGO or I'm promoting an NGO. People just look at you to some extent as a scammer. Let me just be realistic with you. That's just the candid truth. Regulate these things. These are things that will actually hammer or actually negate the activities of real NGOs. In quote. You understand? And then let them happen. But not like a bill is coming, you want to regulate somebody. Anybody that is trying to run away from being regulated, then there's something fishy. That's just my submission. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that submission. Very straight to the point, and quite frankly as well.
Yeah, you see, it's very interesting. For nobody is running away from being regulated. That is the honest truth. Like I said, any funder that gives money to NGO, that NGO will have to report back to the funder. And where you derail, that funder will blacklist you completely from getting future funds.
All right,
this has been happening.
Okay. Unfortunately, we lost the call. But if in a case where you find an NGO that is ready to be blacklisted, I mean, they want to change their course and stop. Oh my God. Hello?
Hello, good morning.
Kindly put off your radio set.
I've done that. My name is Mohammed Kabir. I'm calling from Newcastle.
Welcome to X-Ray.
Yeah, thank you very much. See, my regards to your bill,
All right.
God bless you. Yeah, don't worry on the topic.
Okay.
Thank you.
This is my contribution.
Go ahead.
The NGOs, those who that they were observed that they are not doing well, according to what your guest said, it still was also supporting. There's each punishment for any wrongdoing. So they should label the NGO out. So those NGO, they was doing this straightforward. The next line of action, who are to sue the police or EFC whatsoever, then deal with them. Was trying or grouping them as NGO and then or to name them out in order to blackmail them. No, that one is not accepted because they are also doing well, massively well educating the masses on each purpose, including the National Assembly. So therefore, it's a welcome idea for them to name the bad ones out and they should be charged because nobody is above the law in Nigeria. God bless you. God bless Bracket family and 101.1 FM.
Thank you
God
so much.
Nigeria.
God bless you too. God bless Nigeria. Very good prayer there. You can call us up on 081-8999-1011. Barrister Idris, very easy to speak.
Yeah, Peter, I think I don't want to, it's like I'm repeating myself all over again and again. It is very clear. We have named these NGOs, proceed on them, criminal charges, and also even civil charges. Civil charges can remit the money back to the coffers where the money was, given before. And then the person will go criminalize the person so that he will face a punishment. And that will ruin the person's political career until he's pardoned. So we have a lot of laws, for God's sake, that will, address some of these challenges.
Hello? I want to plead with our listener, kindly put off your radio sets before you call us. We can hear you. You don't need to put it. It gives us a very bad signal and feedback here. Okay? So let's try this line.
Good morning, Peter.
Good morning.
Yes, my name is Mike, Change Advocates.
Oh, okay. Welcome to the program.
Yes, I want to apologize for yesterday. I didn't listen from the beginning. I only react from the person that called before me. That's why I digress a little.
Because the digression was just...
I don't like digressing, actually.
Okay.
So my apologies for that.
I hope you started on the program today.
Yes, I do.
All right.
The issue of this NGO bill. Yeah, from the very beginning. Some of us, just the angle that we've taken, that's what some of us have said, that the problem with Nigeria is because our identity management is bad. That is why when they say some people collect money and disappear, how can the whole government of a country say somebody, a citizen or somebody disappears? I don't understand what I mean. Because our identity management, some people can go, that's why we are going to Corporate Affairs Commission to trace people do that. So then maybe if you go there, you'll be puzzled as the kind of fake identities you find there. So for me, until we do something about our national identity management, and so that we can know every big area and know how to get in for at any point in time. Presently, there are even government officials that are doing certain things. So someone like Ben Lamond of Philosophy, where is he today? You know what I mean? So even the executive, there are a lot of things that are doing to that. Even the National Assembly itself, the National Assembly Service Commission will be very honorable Jibril that have been raising alarm on what is big. I said, what do we do about all of those things? So, like I don't want to overflow the matter. We have enough organizations to handle anybody that does anything wrong in this country. So there's no need to set up any commission or anything. That's my point.
Thank you so much, Change Advocate. Hopefully, Nigeria will change someday. But final comments from our panelists. Let's start with Oikike.
Okay, I believe that we have enough issues to tackle in the country right now, and we should prioritize as a matter of urgency. What are those things that are very important to us as a nation and to us as a people? And so our lawmakers, who are our representatives, who makes laws for us, should have this at the back of their minds and begin to expend their energies on those things that will transform our lives in the immediate, a lot of people are facing all kinds of issues, hardships and things like that. So we need to begin to hear things that we know that we bring our lives to the level that we can say, okay, we are a better people. I think we need to refocus our attention.
Okay. Helni?
Okay. As for me, everybody against the bill to be passed should all step out in mass. Let's go for the public hearing and say no to anti-NGO bill.
And say no to the anti-NGO bill.
Yes.
Okay, so final comments from Barrister Idris.
Yeah, my final comments are that one, we have enough laws to deal with this NGO issue. And for God's sake, I'm begging the distinguished senator, to please name those organizations that are defaulting, so that the relevant authority will proceed on them. Thank you.
All right, for me, I'd like to say, as a journalist, we don't usually put our opinion on these matters, so I need to step away from putting my own personal opinion and say we hope for the very best for Nigeria, and we hope that Nigerians continue to uphold democracy. One Nigeria is what we preach, and we believe that together on Human Rights Radio 101.1 FM, we will uplift democracy in this country. Have a great time and enjoy the rest of the programs on Human Rights Radio. My name is Peter Kundum.
Human Rights Radio 101.